Hey, Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but Mint's premium wireless is $15 a month. But I'd like to offer one other perk. We have no stores. That means no small talk. Crazy weather we're having. No, it's not. It's just weather. It is an introvert's dream. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
As a small business owner, have you ever felt overwhelmed by the pressure of choosing the right hire or leading a team? Or have you ever found yourself tolerating a bad hire because you fear trying and failing again as you repeat the hiring process? If so, you're not alone, and you are in the right place. Welcome to the Growing Your Team podcast. The Growing Your Team podcast teaches business owners like you to expand your unique business by teaching you to master the hiring and team management process. Hiring and managing a team does not have to be a challenge. You just have to learn to do it right. And the Growing Your Team podcast teaches you how to become a confident leader who hires right every single time. Now, let's jump into the show where each episode you will learn tips on how to identify what type of help you need on your team, how to source amazing candidates, how to conduct interviews that lead you to your ideal team member, how to onboard successfully, and how to lead every person in your business so you have a team of rock stars who you are happy to pay every single paycheck. So let's jump in and teach you how to hire like a pro. Hello, Jamie Van Kuyk here, and welcome back to the Growing Your Team podcast. All right, so this probably doesn't come as a big surprise, but I love the hiring process. I love all the details of it, all the information you have to gather, all the information you have to put out. I simply love it. But I know not everyone has that same view of the hiring process as I do. Not everyone sees it as wonderful as I do. Most business owners look at hiring as a chore that needs to be completed so they can get a team member on their team that is probably going to stress them out, but they need that team member in order to achieve their goals. For a lot of people, hiring is not fun. It's not sexy. It's just something that you have to do in order to be successful. And of course, the whole purpose of this podcast, the whole purpose of the Growing Your Team company is to really kind of change that story and to make you feel more confident about the hiring process, to make you realize that you can get people on your team that can be a benefit, not a stress to you. But today, we're going to get down and dirty into one topic about hiring and address the elephant in the room that if you've tried hiring before, you're aware of this. And that thing is, hiring is not easy. Hiring looks like it should be easy, but most people will tell you it is really not that easy. That when you get into hiring, if you don't know what you're doing, you go into the cycle of trial and error and you make mistakes and you hire the wrong people and you waste a lot of time and money doing it. Of course, my goal is to help you not waste the time and money, but the truth still is hiring is not as easy as it seems. It's something that a lot of people learn the hard way. And so today I want to dive into a few of the reasons why hiring is not as easy as it seems. So the first reason is, plain and simple, you don't know what you don't know when it comes to hiring until you've been in the process. You don't know what you don't know when it comes to successful hiring until someone either teaches you how to do it or you just try out a bunch of things and see what works. So hiring can be a lot more complex than anybody thinks it is. If you are someone that does a lot of scrolling on social media, watches a lot of the videos, whether they're Instagram Reels or TikTok or anything like that, where you have the short form videos that are people put out, one of the things that might come across your feed are these videos where people see someone else do something and then they're like, well, I can do that. That looks so easy. And a lot of times these videos become hilarious because they realize it's not so easy. It looks easy, but it's not so easy. And maybe it's something they're doing with a partner or a dance move, or maybe they're trying to do something fitness-wise. Like there is this guy who puts out these videos. He is extremely fit, extremely muscular. But he sees these typically women doing these workout videos that require sometimes flexibility and the other things. And he's like, I got it. And let me tell you, he never really gets it. Even when he says it counts, it is like this, I don't know, if on a grading scale in school, the person that he's trying to copy is an A, he probably has like a D plus, maybe high enough to pass, but not really there. But it's hilarious. And he says that should look easy. And here he is, this big, strong, muscular guy who is extremely in shape. And he has a hard time doing these things that require being in shape and having good muscles and everything. So it's one of those things like we can see something and it looks easy, but it's not. Typically because we've never done it. We don't know what we don't know. We don't know what good actually takes versus bad. We know what we want to get to, but we don't know the work that actually goes in to get there until we've done it. And even when we've done it, we might do it wrong and we really don't know what to correct unless we have someone guiding us or unless we have a lot of time, energy, and money to keep practicing and tweaking and go through trial and error to get there. So that's reason one why hiring is not as easy as it seems. We simply don't know what we don't know. Reason number two, and this is something that typically applies to small businesses. Occasionally, people in corporate might go through this too, but not so much. But in small businesses, definitely. In small businesses, we are hiring a lot of times for positions where we are not the expert. If you're hiring, let's say, a marketing team member for your business and you're not a marketing person, do you really know what it means to be successful in that role? Or more importantly, how to measure if someone is actually successful versus just telling you? The same, let's say you grew your business to needing an on-staff bookkeeper. Do you really know what it means to be successful? You think you do, but if you were to go and ask a bunch of technical questions, could you decipher a good answer from a bad answer? And that's what makes hiring so hard at times. We don't know how to do a job. So sometimes we are trying to figure out if what they tell us is good or not good. Do they have the skill or do they not have the skill? And there are some ways with hiring where we can figure that out without you having to be a true expert. Even at Growing Your Team, we help hire team members for our clients where you have to be high-level experts in stuff. Experts in stuff that we have very little knowledge on. We learn a lot as we're working with these clients and on these positions, but we couldn't ever go and do these jobs. But we're still able at a certain level determine if someone has expertise in that area. We can then help guide our clients if they don't have the higher level expertise, how to measure that higher level expertise without being the expert themselves. So it is possible for you to measure someone's expertise without you also being the expert, but it is one of the challenges. That's why hiring is not as easy as it seems, because we have to measure expertise and things where we are not the expert. All right, and then thing number 3 that we're going to talk about today of why hiring is not as easy as it seems is because, truth be told, we get in our own way. We let our emotions drive the process and lead us to candidates we should not be hiring. we also let our mindset get in the way and stop us from hiring anybody because we go into self-doubt. We go into not even just self-doubt in ourselves, because sometimes we don't see it as doubt in ourselves to be able to make a good hiring decision. We start doubting the candidates. So we think it's because the candidates aren't good enough, when really it's we're getting in our own way of making a decision. I remember a few years ago, I was working with a client, and he just couldn't make a decision for anything. And he kept wanting to speak to candidates again and put them through another interview or do this or do that. And we have to kept telling him, is like, you have all the information you need. We're not going back and getting new information, because we said, why do you want to talk to them? What are we trying to uncover? It'd be information that we already had. And we dig into it saying, okay, well, what is not good enough with this answer? So we can see, how do we dig more if we do have another conversation with them? How can we prepare specific questions and prepare for that conversation instead of ending another conversation and still feeling like we don't have the right answers? Well, it turned out that this business owner wasn't lacking information. He was just assuming that anyone that came in was going to be a bad hire and standing in his own way. It was his own self-doubt. So when we work through that self-doubt and we helped him get over that mindset issue, he was able to really look at what he had already uncovered about the candidates and make a decision without having them bringing them in for more and more interviews. So we can get in our own way. Like I also said, we can have emotions that lead us to bad hires. I've shared this example, I know, a number of times before on this podcast and on other podcasts. One of my very first hiring decisions, I almost hired someone who wasn't qualified for the position because I felt for his story. He was a first-generation college grad in his family. He was really looking for that job in his chosen career path because he was ready to start being able to pay off his student loans and all this stuff. And I fell for his story. I wanted to help him achieve his goals because he seemed amazing in his drive and all this stuff. And then somebody turned to me and said, but is he qualified for the job? And I had to sit there and say, well, no, he's not actually qualified for this job. And realizing that I would be doing myself a disservice for hiring someone who wasn't qualified, because then that person would need a lot of management. And I was also doing him a disservice by putting him in a position where he wasn't qualified. So we need to make sure that we are not getting in our own way of having good hires, whether that's stopping us from making decisions or making wrong decisions. We need to get out of our own way, but because we get in our own way, hiring is not as easy as it seems. So my goal is always to give you information to make the hiring process easier. We want to succeed in hiring. We want to make sure we're getting the right people on our teams, and we need to really focus on who do we need and why do we need certain people and everything so we can be successful. So let's just quickly look at these 3 things and see what else we can do to be successful with hiring. First, you don't know what you don't know. Well, you're listening to this podcast. You are already taking a step in the right direction. If you have specific questions or you need high level or very hands-on support throughout the hiring process, Growing Your Team can help you learn what you don't know. We can help open your eyes to things that you're not even realizing right now, so your process can be as easy as it seems. Because trust me, when you know how to hire well, hiring is so much easier than you think it is right now. 2, hiring for positions where you're not the expert. I already covered this a little bit, but there's ways for you to uncover information in an interview to see if a candidate is really qualified. It's about asking the right questions. It's about asking follow-up. It's about asking questions that uncover times when there was errors, times when things went wrong, times they had to work through challenges. Because they can probably tell you a book definition of something, but can they tell you about a time when they had to actually do that in the workplace? Right? So it's about asking the right questions in an interview, and you don't always have to be the expert in the technical in order to be able to properly gauge the answer that they're telling you. And then lastly, just make sure you're looking at the details in the information when you're hiring, so that way you can get out of your own way. Really evaluate, are you holding yourself back, or are you leading yourself to the person you shouldn't be hiring? So if you're trying to say, yes, this person is qualified, or no, this person is not qualified, why? Always ask yourself that why question. Why are they qualified? Or are my emotions telling me that they're qualified? Why are they not qualified? Why do I feel like none of these candidates should get the offer? If they're really not qualified, they're really not the right choice, don't hire them. But if they are, stop getting in your own way. Okay, we're going to wrap it up here today. So if you have any questions about this, or things that you're realizing are getting in your own way, or ways that you've identified that hiring is not as easy as it seems, reach out. I'd be happy to answer your questions or hear your successes as you maybe overcame some of the things in the hiring process so you can be successful in how you got the right person. So let's connect, let's reach out, and make hiring easy for you, so that way you always get the best team members without wasting a lot of time, money, or energy. And that wraps up this episode of the Growing Your Team podcast. But before we go, are you ready to gain the confidence to hire like a pro, but need to find a way to do so that fits your limited time and doesn't stretch your budget beyond its capacity? Let's face it, hiring has a lot of complexities. And if you don't know what you're doing at each step, you increase your chances of hiring the wrong person and then having to spend both time and money to rehire. So it's something that you want to do well the first time. But if you're like many small businesses that are hiring their very first contractors and employees, you most likely don't have thousands of dollars to spend on high-level hiring consultant services or full-service recruiting. But you still need help. You still need guidance. You still need the support to hire well. That is exactly what the Micro Hiring Consulting Program is for. This is a consulting program designed to support you through the process of hiring and onboarding contractors and part-time and full-time employees in a manner that fits your schedule and your budget. It's a month-to-month consulting program that gives you access to one-on-one calls, office hours, live training, and unlimited email support, so you have expert eyes on every job post, interview question, onboarding plan, or anything that you create, so that way you know it will work for you and be successful in the process of finding your ideal candidate. To learn more about this consulting opportunity and how you can get hiring support that fits your time and your budget, head on over to growingyourteam.com/micro. Once again, go to growingyourteam.com/micro to learn more about this consulting program that's going to help guide you to successful hires every time.